The story opens with Kate, a single mother living a quiet, solitary life on her ranch. Each morning, she tends to her horses while listening to an old voice recording of her late partner, a bittersweet ritual that keeps their memory alive. One morning, a construction worker points out a sagging section of the roof and tells her it'll cost nearly $9,000 to replace, which worries her because she doesn't have that kind of money. With no other option, Kate drives to her ex-husband's house to ask for help. Though reluctant, he eventually writes her a check, doubting whether her ranch can even survive much longer. Before leaving, Kate asks if he's heard from their daughter, Claire. He admits she came by recently, asking for money as well, but he turned her away, scolding Kate for constantly rescuing her, despite knowing what she uses the money for. Later, when Kate returns home, she's surprised to find Claire waiting, looking pale, restless, and clearly in bad shape. Still, Kate wraps her arms around her, saying how much she's missed her. Claire stays distant, barely engaging, and soon asks to borrow Kate's iPad to check her messages. She explains that she and her boyfriend, Ryan, had a fight at the beach. He threw her phone into the ocean, so she retaliated by dumping his belongings under a bridge. Concerned, Kate tells her it sounds like a toxic relationship and maybe it's time to let him go. But instead of agreeing, Claire just asks for a new phone. That night, there's a sudden knock at the door. It's Ryan, Claire's boyfriend. He's come to retrieve his bag, which, as it turns out, contains cash and half a kilo of stash. He demands to know where it is, but Claire insists she doesn't know. Ryan, clearly agitated, admits he told his dealer that Claire stole it, and now the man is coming after her. Concerned, Kate tries to understand what's going on, but before she can get any answers, Claire rushes out with Ryan into the night. Hours later, Kate wakes to the sound of a struggle in the living room. She rushes out to find Claire on the floor, convulsing from a stash overdose. Panicked but gentle, Kate helps her to bed, staying by her side until she stabilizes. The next morning, trying to comfort her daughter, Kate takes her to a nearby lake, a place filled with childhood memories, where they wade into the water together, seeking peace and reconnection. Later that day, while Claire listens to music at home, a stranger suddenly appears. Jackie, the dealer Ryan mentioned. Outside, Ryan waits nervously in the car. Jackie storms in, demanding his stash. When Claire refuses, he turns violent, hitting and kicking her as Ryan helplessly watches. Jackie pins Claire to the floor, trying to force himself on her, when the family dog, Coop, starts barking furiously. Hearing the chaos, Kate rushes out and sees a man on top of her daughter. Furious and terrified, she screams at him to get away. Then, trembling with rage, she demands to know what her daughter did to deserve such treatment. Jackie tells Claire she's put him in serious danger with his suppliers by stealing the stash. Before leaving, he warns her she has only two choices: either return what she took or pay him back in full. Shaken, Kate demands to know what's really going on. Cornered, Claire finally confesses that the bag she threw away actually contained Jackie's stash, something she had no idea about at the time. Kate begins to panic, terrified that Jackie might come back, but Claire tries to calm her down, insisting he won't. Later that evening, Kate returns from the store and is stunned to find Ryan back at the house with Claire. Furious, she storms inside, her patience finally breaking. Claire rushes after her, apologizing and trying to explain. She says they're planning to go camping for a few days and just need some money for food. But this time, Kate refuses. She knows exactly where the money will go. The argument quickly escalates, voices rising until Kate retreats into her room and locks the door, as Claire pounds on it from the other side in anger and desperation. When Kate still refuses to open the door, Claire snaps. She tells Ryan to grab Coop, the family dog, and put him in the car. Then, in a cruel attempt to provoke her mother, she threatens to drive far away and abandon Coop so he can never find his way back, letting him starve to death. The moment Kate hears that, she bursts out of the room, rushing outside to protect her dog. But Claire, consumed by rage, turns violent and starts hitting her mother while Ryan pleads with her to stop. Despite the blows, Kate refuses to back down, standing her ground until the two finally leave. The following day, Kate meets up with her close friend Les, and the two share a quiet afternoon together. They talk about Patty's death, and Kate admits that if it weren't for the horses, she probably wouldn't even get out of bed anymore. Seeing how broken and lonely she's become, Les offers to stay the night to keep her company. That evening, they share drinks, laughter, and a bit of dancing, a fleeting moment of warmth that reminds Kate what happiness once felt like. But after Les leaves the next day, Kate becomes sad again and listens to Patty's voicemail. That afternoon, she gives a horse riding lesson to a local girl whose mother, Emma, criticizes her daughter's posture and yells harshly. That night, Kate is sleeping peacefully when, suddenly, Coop starts barking. It turns out Claire has returned home, and she looks shaken while covered in blood. Kate asks if she's hurt, but Claire shockingly reveals it's actually Ryan's blood. She claims they were arguing at the camp when she pushed him off a cliff, splitting his head open. Kate states it was an accident, and says they need to call the cops. But Claire adds that before Ryan fell, she struck him with a rock because he was trying to attack her. Stunned, Kate asks where the body is. She then heads outside to Claire's car, where she finds a body wrapped in a sheet. The sight shakes her to the core, but she forces herself to stay composed and goes back inside. She asks Claire where they had been camping, and whether anyone saw them, but Claire reveals no one did since it was late at night. Kate then asks for Ryan's phone, which Claire places on the table. After this, Kate calmly tells her to go upstairs, take off her clothes, put them in a bag, and not come out until she returns. Later, we see Kate carefully placing the body into a small boat, then loading it onto her truck. After driving off, she soon pulls over in a secluded area and crushes Ryan's phone, before tossing it beside the road. Kate eventually arrives at a lake called Marsh Creek, drags the boat from the truck to the water's edge, and begins paddling. When she reaches the middle of the lake, she places a heavy object on the body, and dumps the body into the dark water, before silently heading back to her truck. After returning home, Kate meticulously scrubs every trace of evidence from the car and burns both her and Claire's clothes. She assures her daughter that everything is handled. Kate explains that if the police ever show up, they'll stick to one story. Ryan and Claire came home after camping, had a heated argument, and Ryan stormed out. Kate even emphasizes that Ryan's phone being at the house will help back up their story when the police trace it. When Claire nervously asks where Ryan's body is, Kate quietly admits she dumped it in Marsh Creek Lake. The following day, Claire rushes home in a panic, saying Jackie cornered her at a store. He held her at gunpoint, demanding to know what happened to Ryan, and threatened to kill her if she didn't come clean. When Kate asks how much Ryan owed him, Claire confesses, $10,000. Left with no choice, Kate takes out the check Richard once gave her and decides to use it to protect her daughter. Not long after, Jackie shows up at the ranch, and Kate hands him the $10,000 in cash. Satisfied, he sneers that it must be hell to have a daughter like Claire, someone she always has to clean up after. Kate coldly tells him to take the money and never set foot on their property again. After he leaves, Kate reassures Claire that Jackie won't bother them anymore. But strangely, soon after the payment, Claire vanishes without a trace. Desperate, Kate floods her with calls and voicemails, but there's no response. Remembering that Claire once logged into her iPad, she uses Find My Phone to track her location. Following the signal, Kate eventually arrives at a run-down, abandoned house, where she finds Claire inside, strung out on drugs and talking to a man in the kitchen. As the man steps outside to throw away the trash, Kate freezes in disbelief. It's Ryan, instantly rushing back inside to warn Claire that her mother has found them. In a panic, the two scramble out the back door and jump into their car. Kate runs after them, demanding to know whose body she had helped cover up, but Ryan shoves her aside and speeds off, knocking her to the ground in the process. Back home, Kate logs into Claire's account and begins reading her messages. To her horror, she learns that Claire had planned everything from the start, using her mother's love and guilt to clean up her mess. The following day, Kate returns to Marsh Creek Lake. She rents a small boat for a couple of hours and quietly rows out to the middle of the water. Claire's haunting comment about bodies eventually floating has been tormenting her mind. Unable to shake it off, Kate dives beneath the cold surface to see if the body is still there. To her grim relief, she spots it almost immediately. As she climbs back into the boat, a nearby security guard calls out, reminding her that her rental time is up. Startled, Kate quickly makes up an excuse, saying she dropped her wedding ring into the water. The guard nods, telling her to wrap it up soon, unaware of the dark secret lurking below. After the guard leaves, Kate notices bubbles rising from beneath the surface, so she immediately dives into the water. That night, overwhelmed with guilt and betrayal, Kate calls Les and confesses everything. The next morning, Les arrives in shock and convinces Kate to stay at her place for a few days, assuring her that she's already arranged workers to look after the farm. Later that evening, while staying at Les's house, Kate checks her security cameras and is horrified to see Jackie standing at her front door. When she asks what he wants, he demands that she come outside. Kate says she isn't home, but Jackie coldly replies that he'll return tomorrow, and that he knows about the body at Marsh Creek Lake. Terrified, Kate rushes back home. The next day, Jackie shows up as promised, and Kate demands to know whose body she helped dispose of. Jackie reveals the grim truth. To pay off his debt, Ryan had started selling fentanyl-laced drugs that killed a teenage boy. Desperate and scared, Ryan and Claire turned to Jackie for help, who then told them to manipulate Kate, knowing she'd do anything to protect her daughter. Jackie announces that he's planning to leave town soon and demands more money from Kate. She insists she doesn't have any, but he doesn't buy it, threatening to anonymously tip off the police about the dead teenager. Panicked, Kate tries to make a run for it, but Jackie easily overpowers her and forcefully injects her with something that knocks her unconscious. When Kate finally wakes up, Jackie is standing over her. He calmly explains that he's confiscated her phone, computer, car keys, and even the house keys. She's not allowed to leave the property, and he gives her just 2 days to come up with the money. Demanding a place to stay, he follows her to the small apartment above the barn, the same one her late partner, Patty, once lived in. That night, Kate retrieves a hidden iPad from her drawer, something Jackie didn't find, and quietly reads through messages from Claire, who's full of guilt and apologies. Claire also reveals the name of the dead teenager, Greg Kaminsky. Kate searches for the teenage boy online and comes across pictures of him, which fill her with guilt over what she's done. The next morning, Kate tells Jackie that her ranch is insured for $100,000 and that she plans to burn it down with a flare, staging it as an accident to claim the money. Jackie scoffs at the idea, saying insurance payouts can take months. Kate counters that she could make him a listed employee, allowing her to send smaller payments over time to avoid suspicion. Cold and calculating, Jackie then asks how much the horses are insured for. When Kate reluctantly admits that each is worth $25,000, he cruelly suggests burning them too, if it means more profit. Just then, Emma, one of Kate's clients, unexpectedly arrives. Jackie grows irritated, knowing he had canceled all her lessons from Kate's phone. Kate offers to handle it, but he insists on going himself. Introducing himself as the new farmhand, he tries to be polite, but Emma snaps at him to stay out of her space. After she leaves, Jackie agrees to Kate's plan, but warns that she'll have to carry it out alone. If anything goes wrong, he refuses to take the blame. Later that day, Kate arranges for a truckload of hay to be delivered, preparing the barn for what's to come. Kate tells Jackie that she plans to start the fire later that night, sometime between 2 and 3 a.m. Jackie agrees and leaves. As night falls, Kate feeds the horses one last time when Jackie appears, tossing her a few flares to ignite. She tells him he can leave now, but he refuses, insisting he'll stay to make sure she actually follows through. With no choice left, Kate lights the flares, watching as he finally drives away into the darkness. Moments later, the terrified horses begin screaming as flames engulf the barn. Kate stands frozen, unable to do anything but listen to their desperate cries. By dawn, firefighters have managed to put out the blaze, but the damage is devastating. The next morning, an officer visits Kate and explains that the fire was clearly set on purpose. He asks if anyone lived in the apartment above the barn, and Kate calmly replies that her employee, Jackie, stayed there. But when she woke to see the fire, he was gone, and she hasn't been able to reach him since. The officer informs her they've discovered a badly burned body in the apartment and that she'll need to come down to the station for questioning. At the station, Kate sits across from detectives as they explain they've managed to locate Jackie. When asked how she knows him, Kate explains that Jackie was a friend of her daughter's who needed work, so she hired him to help with the stables. But the officers quickly counter. Jackie claims he never worked for her, and doesn't even know her. When asked if anyone else might have seen him, Kate remembers that one of her clients, Emma, met him once. Then, the officer presses further, asking if she's ever seen anyone else around Jackie or visiting the apartment. Kate recalls meeting a boy once, a quiet teen named Greg Kaminsky, who had briefly introduced himself to her. The officer seems taken aback. Moments later, he confronts Jackie and shows him a photograph of Greg. The burnt body found in the fire, he reveals, matches Greg Kaminsky. But Jackie denies ever knowing the boy, insisting he never lived or worked on Kate's farm. So, the officer pulls out a bank statement showing that Kate had transferred $2,500 to his account, listed as salary. To make matters worse for Jackie, Emma also confirms seeing him at the ranch. A flashback shows that on the day Kate stayed at Les's place, the two secretly went to Marsh Creek Lake and retrieved the body, storing it in a freezer. Later, when she set the fire, Kate intentionally left behind a piece of flare wire to make it look like arson. Once Jackie drove away that night, she and Les moved the frozen body into the apartment above the barn, then released the frightened horses, ensuring the entire ranch would catch fire and destroy all evidence, including Greg's remains. Back in the present, Jackie tries desperately to explain the real story, how Kate had dumped the body in the lake to protect her drug-addicted daughter. But the officers don't believe a word of it. They show him CCTV footage of himself buying flares from a nearby store, sealing his fate. Frustrated and cornered, Jackie snaps, yelling and struggling until officers rush in and restrain him. Meanwhile, Kate walks free, while Jackie faces charges for murder, arson, and more. Days later, Kate hires a crew to bulldoze the remains of the burned barn. With the insurance money, she finally replaces the roof, something she couldn't afford before. Then she receives a message from her daughter, Claire, a simple plea for forgiveness. But this time, Kate doesn't reply. She quietly returns to her routine, training horses and listening to Patty's old voicemails, finding peace in the solitude. One night, she's sleeping soundly when Coop suddenly starts barking. Kate wakes up and peers outside, only to see Claire standing there again, tears streaming down her face. But this time, Kate doesn't rush out to her. She stands still, distant, cold, and unshaken. If you enjoy this video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps like this. Thank you for watching.